Hello, how's it going, everybody? Today we're going to be jumping into Proverbs chapter 5, and we're going to go up to 7. I was actually going to do 4 to 7 today, but we got ahead of ourselves yesterday. So let me get the text up on screen here for you guys. Okay, and let me just check this audio, make sure we're not lagging or anything like that. Let's see here. All right, that's perfect. So, boom, boom. Okay, good. We are good to go. So Proverbs chapter 5. Proverbs has been really I've really liked Proverbs. It's literally like it's fatherly advice. It's Solomon giving advice to his children, predominantly his son, but in one of the chapters he was talking to all of his children. So it's just cool to see. It's cool to hear the advice. So today it looks like we're going to be talking about adultery. Solomon is warning his son about adultery, and that is really interesting because we all know what David did, right? David committed adultery, so it's like Solomon is warning his son about his grandfather's sins, saying, "Don't walk this path, don't follow, don't go down this line, because I've seen what happens." Um, so that's interesting. Let's jump into this. Proverbs chapter 5. That's probably why Solomon took so many wives. He's like, I'm not going to commit adultery. I'm just going to marry them all.
My son, pay attention to my wisdom. Lend your ear to my understanding, that you may preserve discretion, and your lips may keep knowledge. For the lips of an immoral woman drip honey, and her mouth is smoother than oil.
So, she has a way with her words. She can seduce you.
But in the end she is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Her feet go down to death. Her steps lay hold of hell, lest you ponder her path of life. Her ways are unstable. You do not know them. Therefore, hear me now, my children, and do not depart from the words of my mouth. Remove your way far from her, and do not go near the door of her house, lest you give your honor to others, and your years to the cruel one. Lest aliens be filled with your wealth, and your labors go to the house of a foreigner, and you mourn at last, when your flesh and your body are consumed, and say, how I have hated instruction, and my heart despised correction. I have not obeyed the voice of my teachers, nor inclined my ear to those who instructed me. I was on the verge of total ruin in the midst of the assembly and congregation. Drink water from your own cistern, and running water from your own well. Should your fountains be dispersed abroad, streams of water in the streets, let them be only your own, and not for strangers with you. Let your fountain be blessed, and rejoice with the wife of your youth.
Let me read that again. So when your flesh and your body are consumed, and say, well, let me take it back a little bit. Where should I take it back to? Lest aliens be filled with your wealth, and your labors go to the house of a foreigner, and you mourn at last when your flesh and your body are consumed, and say, how I have hated instruction, and my heart despised correction. I have not obeyed the voice of my teachers, nor inclined my ears to those who instructed me. I was on the verge of total ruin, in the midst of the assembly and congregation. Drink water from your own cistern, and running water from your own well. Should your fountains be dispersed abroad, streams of water in the streets, let them be only your own. So I'm trying to understand why. because aliens are taking their wealth? Let them be your own and not for strangers with you. Let your fountain be blessed and rejoice with your wife of your with the wife of your youth. Therefore, hear me now, my children, and do not depart from the words of my mouth. Remove your way far from her. Who is her? Adultery. Of an immoral woman. Okay. And do not go near the door of her house, lest you give up your honor to others and your years to the cruel one, lest aliens be filled with your wealth. So if you commit this sin, if you fall for adultery, if you let this woman, this adulterous woman tempt you and seduce you, and you fall to it, this is what's going to happen to you, right? The aliens will be filled with your wealth. So other people, basically, if you do this, you're going to lose everything, right? Other people are going to take all your stuff. So, what do you do instead? Drink water from your own cistern and running water from your own well. Should your fountains be dispersed abroad, streams of water. Should your fountains be dispersed abroad, streams of water in the streets, let them be only your own, and not for strangers with you. So don't. So let all this stuff be your own. And how do you keep them to yourself? You don't go and lay with other people. Don't commit adultery. Don't fall for seduction. I think that's what it's saying. We can look up a commentary once we're done with this.
As a loving deer and a graceful doe. Let her breast satisfy you at all times, and always be enraptured with her love. For why should you, my son, be enraptured by an immoral woman, and be embraced in the arms of a seductress? For the ways of man are before the eyes of the Lord, and he ponders all his paths. His own iniquities entrap the wicked man, and he is caught in the cords of his sin. He shall die for lack of instruction, and in the greatness of his folly he shall go astray.
So he shall die for lack of instruction, and the greatness of his folly he shall go astray. So Solomon is making sure he gives his children instruction. It reminded them to hold on to wisdom, to continue to learn, and to heed their father's words. So let's look up a commentary for this. Proverbs chapter 5. I want to skip to where is it? I guess I should have looked at the verse before coming into here so we can just get to it immediately. Oh, here we go. So it should be a little bit okay, lest aliens be filled with your wealth. In the modern world, many men know what it is like to lose their wealth because of adultery. The self-inflicted punishment of involving oneself with the unchaste wife is as bad as the outsiders plundered the house, as if the outsiders plundered the house. Although sexual immorality today may not lead to slavery, it still leads to alimony, child support, broken homes, hurt, jealousy, lonely people, and venereal disease. This sin is a purgatory to the purse, though a paradise to the desires. So, drink water from your own cistern. Solomon reminded his son that God had provided his wife for his needs. Okay, that makes a whole lot of sense. Instead of neglecting what God had given, he should renew his gratitude and focus upon what God has blessed. Oh, Solomon had 700 wives, though. Water in Proverbs 5:15, as in Song of Solomon 5:1, stands for the quenching of one's sexual thirst. Satisfying the sexual drive is likened to taking in solid food in Proverbs 30:20, and water and food in Proverbs 9:17. Lust makes the heart hot and thirsty. God therefore sends men to this well, to this cistern. Be satisfied with thy own wife, and let the wife see that she reverence her husband, and not tempt him by intention or unkindness to seek elsewhere what he has a right to expect, but cannot find at home. Dang, okay. So it's not just a lesson for men, it's a lesson for women as well. And running water from your own well. God's provision for sexual need is found in the marital bed, which is pure before Him. It is like a pure, fresh spring. Though some are dissatisfied with what God provides in marriage, that dissatisfaction is more a reflection on them than their spouse. Ancient or modern, an over-sexualized culture promotes the idea that sexual satisfaction is mainly a physical sensation, while only a fool would deny the physical enjoyments of sex. A more mature mind sees that intimacy, the open, unhindered revelation, reception, and sharing of one's self with another is also a great reward in. All right, we get the point. All right, we get the point. Okay, we can. All right, let's move on. Chapter 6.
My son, if you become surety for your friend, if you have shaken hands in pledge for a stranger, you are snared by the words of your mouth. You are taken by the words of your mouth. So do this, my son, and deliver yourself. For you have come into the hand of your friend. Go and humble yourself. Plead with your friend. Give no sleep to your eyes, nor slumber to your eyelids. Deliver yourself like a gazelle from the hand of the hunter, and like a bird from the hand of the fowler.
So my son, if you become surety for your friend, if you have shaken hands in pledge for a stranger, so if you made a promise, you are snared by the words of your mouth. So you are behold to your mouth, to the words coming out of your mouth. You got to hold yourself to your word. You are taken by the words of your mouth. So do this, my son, and deliver yourself. For you have come into the hand of your friend. Go humble yourself. Plead with your friend. So if you have shaken hands in pledge for a stranger, what is that? Is it like making a promise on someone else's behalf? What is going on here? Let's look up a commentary. If you have become surety for your friend, Solomon warns his son against guaranteeing the debt of others, whether they were a friend or a stranger. This was the promise to pay the debts of the friend or stranger if they failed to pay. Okay, makes sense. This wasn't really like loaning someone money, nor exactly like co-signing a loan. In modern financial terms, it was more like guaranteeing someone's open line of credit. The New Testament shows us Paul accepting Onesimus's past liabilities, but not his future ones. If thou pledge thyself in behalf of another, thou takest the burden off him, and placest it on thine own shoulders. And when he knows he has got one to stand between him, the demands of law and justice, he will feel little responsibility. His spirit of exertion will become crippled. Even to the recipient, an unconditional pledge may be an unintended disservice by exposing him to temptation and to the subsequent grief of having brought a friend to ruin. You are snared by the words of your mouth. To promise to pay the debts of another person is to put yourself in a trap. It is a promise made with the words of your mouth, but will affect and afflict your wallet or purse. Job 17:3 uses this circle of ideas to declare that Job is too bad a risk for anybody but God, and to plead that God will take him up. So a bridge is made in the Old Testament between the idea of material insolvency and spiritual. So what do? Deliver yourself. Solomon counseled his son that if he did make himself responsible for the debt of another person, he should do all he could to deliver himself. He should humble himself and plead to be released from his promise. Hebrew, offer thyself to be trodden upon, or throw thyself down at his feet. As thou hast made thyself his servant, bear the fruits of thine own folly, and humbly and earnestly implore his patience and clemency. A gazelle, so deliver yourself like a gazelle from the hand of the hunter. A gazelle would do anything to escape the hunter, and a bird would do anything to escape the fowler. Solomon tried to communicate the urgency his son should have in escaping responsibility for the debt of others. But if you put yourself into that position, you have to get yourself out of it. That may mean being humble, throwing yourself down to the feet of your friend, being humble about it. Because Solomon's son is a prince. That doesn't mean he shouldn't be humble about the situation. You put yourself in the situation, so be humble and ask to leave, to get out, to escape. And if you can't, well, be prepared to do the work.
Go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider her ways and be wise, which having no captain, overseer, or ruler, provides her supplies in the summer, and gathers her food in the harvest. How long will you slumber, O sluggard? When will you rise from your sleep? A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. So shall your poverty come on you like a prowler, and your need like an armed man.
So if you're lazy, poverty shall come on you like a prowler. If you waste away your time, what does it say? Which having no captain, overseer, or ruler, provides her supplies in the summer, and gathers her food in the harvest. How long will you slumber, O sluggard? When will you rise from your sleep? A little sleep, a little slumber. So shall your poverty come on you like a prowler, and your need to act like an armed man. So people will come and steal. Go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider her ways and be wise. Ants are hardworking. Which having no captain, overseer, or ruler, provides her supplies in the summer and gathers her food in the harvest. Right? So they're continuously working always. How long will you slumber, O sluggard? When will you rise from your sleep? Be like the ant. The ants don't sleep, they work continuously. A little sleep, a little slumber. A little folding of the hands to sleep. So shall your poverty come on you like a prowler, and your need like an armed man. Okay. So it's saying that poverty will creep upon him, right? As he sleeps, poverty is going to creep on him as he's sleeping, because he's not doing anything. He's not working. He's not going to create wealth for himself, and his need will come like an armed man. That's his need for something, right? As he loses money, as he becomes, he dips his foot into the world of poverty. His need will come like an armed man, banging at his door. He's going to be needing quick and hard. And he's not going to be able to escape like an armed man. It's going to be hard to get out of that, because he's probably developed all these habits, sleeping and slumbering. He's not going to know how to work. Right? He's not going to have that drive. And so, like an armed man, need is going to come for him. It's hard to escape an armed man. Right?
poverty come on you like a prowler, and your need like an armed man. A worthless person, a wicked man, walks with a perverse mouth. He winks with his eyes. He shuffles his feet. He points with his fingers. Perversity.
He has something to hide. He has something to hide, and he projects his sin onto others. That's by pointing. But he's insecure. He shuffles his feet, right? So you feel bad for the wicked, the worthless man, right? Because they know they're not in the place that they should be. That's why he's shuffling his feet and winking his eyes. I don't know what that could mean. I don't know, hiding something, lying, or I don't know, could mean something else. Shuffling his feet, I know it's like, walking. You're shuffling your feet as you walk, right? He's not in a good place, right? But he also points his fingers, so he's not in a good place. But he's pointing his fingers at other people, because a lot of people who do wrong project that onto other people. Let's look up what wink. He winks with his eyes. What does that necessarily mean? He winks with his eyes. With his eyes and his feet and his fingers, the worthless and wicked man shows his crooked and dishonest character. Oh, okay, so maybe it's a different interpretation than what I was getting. How is shuffling your feet crooked and dishonest? Shuffling your feet, I don't know. I guess the winking part, yeah. I get the winking part. But the shuffling, maybe shuffling feet meant something different back then.
Is in his heart. He devises evil continually. He sows discord.
Well, okay, so the continuation of that section supports what the commentary was saying.
Therefore, his calamity shall come suddenly. Suddenly, he shall be broken without remedy.
So unlike the lazy, it's going to creep on you like a prowler. But this is going to be can't snap with my left hand. This is gonna pounce on you, right? It's gonna come suddenly.
These 6 things the Lord hates. Yes, 7 are an abomination to him. A proud look, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked plans, feet that are swift in running to evil, a false witness who speaks lies, and one who sows discord among brethren. My son.
So 7 things that God hates, that are abomination to God. We got to keep that in mind and definitely not do any of those.
Keep your father's command, and do not forsake the law of your mother. Bind them continually upon your heart. Tie them around your neck. When you roam, they will lead you. When you sleep, they will keep you. And when you awake, they will speak with you. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law a light. Reproofs of instruction are the way of life, to keep you from the evil woman, from the flattering tongue of a seductress. Do not lust after her beauty in your heart, nor let her allure you with her eyelids. For by means of a harlot, a man is reduced to a crust of bread, and an adulteress will prey upon his precious life. Can a man take fire to his bosom and his clothes not be burned? Can one walk on hot coals and his feet not be seared? So is he who goes into his neighbor's wife.
It's crazy, like how Solomon is talking about this. I mean, he is the product of an adulterous relationship with David and Bathsheba, yet he's warning his son against it. Solomon wouldn't have been born if it wasn't for adultery. But he doesn't want, but it's still a sin, and he doesn't want his son to commit that act, fall into this life, because it'll ruin you.
Whoever touches her shall not be innocent. People do not despise a thief if he steals to satisfy himself when he is starving. Yet when he is found, he must restore sevenfold. He may have to give up all the substance of his house. Whoever commits adultery with a woman lacks understanding. He who does so destroys his own soul. Wounds and dishonor he...
So Solomon believes if you understand what he is teaching you right now, you won't commit adultery, because you understand that the consequences severely outweigh the benefits.
...will get, and his reproach will not be wiped away, for jealousy is a husband's fury. Therefore he will not spare in the day of vengeance. He will accept no recompense, nor will he be appeased, though you give many gifts.
Yeah. That's why David had him offed before.
My son, keep my words, and treasure my commands within you. Keep my commands and live, and my law as the apple of your eye. Bind them on your fingers. Write them
Like, Solomon's really going in on this topic.
on the tablet of your heart. Say to wisdom, you are my sister. And call understanding your nearest kin, that they may keep you from the immoral woman, from the seductress who flatters with her words.
The ironic thing is that Solomon gave in to his wives. Yeah, maybe he didn't commit adultery because he married every woman he wanted, or he took them as a concubine, but he allowed his wives to influence him into sin. Right near the end of his reign, what did he do? He created the high places and gave them places to worship their gods, because that's what they were asking of him. So that's interesting. Again, we touched on this yesterday. Maybe some of these advices that Solomon is giving his sons are due to things that he sees in himself, and he doesn't want his children to follow that or fall into the same temptations. Maybe they have the same inclinations as he does, and he doesn't want to see that for his children. And so he is preemptively trying to course correct their lives. Say, hey, don't do these things. I know. Don't do these things. And he's saying, please, remember what I'm telling you.
For at the window of my house I looked through my lattice and saw among the simple, I perceived among the youths a young man devoid of understanding, passing along the street near her corner, and he took the path to her house in the twilight, in the evening, in the black and dark night. And there a woman met him, with the attire of a harlot and a crafty heart. She was loud and rebellious. Her feet would not stay at home. At times she was outside, at times in the open square, lurking at every corner. So she caught him and kissed him. With an impudent face she said to him,
I have peace offerings with me. Today I have paid my vows, so I came out to meet you, diligently to seek your face, and I have found you.
I'm trying to make you feel
I have
special.
spread my bed with tapestry, colored coverings of Egyptian linen. I have perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. Come, let us take our fill of love until morning. Let us delight ourselves with love, for my husband is not at home.
Oh,
He
you're
has
married.
gone on a long journey. He has taken a bag of money with him and will come home on the appointed day.
With her enticing speech she caused him to yield. With her flattering lips she seduced him. Immediately he went after her as an ox goes to the slaughter, or as a fool to the correction of the stocks, till an arrow struck his liver. As a bird hastens to the snare, he did not know it would cost his life. Now, therefore, listen to me, my children. Pay attention to the words of my mouth. Do not let your heart turn aside to her ways. Do not stray into her paths, for she has cast down many wounded, and all who were slain by her were strong men. Her house is the way to hell, descending to the chambers of death.
Wow. So it's a grave mistake to make. It's not something to be taken lightly at all. I want to look up the commentary for this. There's one line I wanted to check. And what verse was that? I have my peace offerings with me. 14. Why did she say that? Oh, come on. Oh, there we go. I have my peace offerings with me. The sexual, immoral woman Solomon described was not against religion, just against the moral code of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. She favored a God who would receive her peace offerings, while she lived as she pleased when it came to her sexual desires. She pretends religion to her filthy practices. So did King Edward IV's whole... Come on, what is this? Okay, so what was the peace offerings? What were the significance of peace offerings? What were they for? A peace offering in the Old Testament law is described in Leviticus 7:11-21. And this is the law of the sacrifice of peace offerings that one may offer to the Lord. If he offers it in thanksgiving, then he shall offer with the thanksgiving sacrifice unleavened loaves mixed with oil, unleavened wafers smeared with oil, and loaves of fine flour. It was a voluntary sacrifice given to God in 3 specific instances. First, a peace offering could be given as a free will offering, meaning that the worshiper was giving the peace offering as a way to say thank you for God's unsought generosity. It was basically just a way to praise God for his goodness. So instead of giving a sin offering, because if you give a sin offering, you are admitting sin, she is giving a peace offering just to showcase, God, you're amazing, you're good. And maybe, because I'm giving a peace offering, God will let this slide. Maybe she has that in her mind, so she knows she's doing something wrong. That's interesting. All right, well, that's going to be it for today. We just finished chapter 7 of Proverbs. Tomorrow we'll jump into chapter 8. And, yeah, that's it. A lot of good advice from Solomon. Specifically focused mostly on adultery. But hopefully it continues on like this with Solomon giving advice. I like it. I like that. And we got to see 7 things that God hates. So make sure you don't do anything on that list. But yeah, that's going to be it. We finished chapter 7. Tomorrow we'll jump into chapter 8. And hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.